Welcome to the high-level overview of Maximo 7.6.1. 7.6.1 is a culmination of the 7.6.0 fix packs and features. Several new features and capabilities include updates to the installation, a new user interface skin, new functionality to existing work centers, including a new supply chain work center, and improved inspection capabilities. One of the most important additions to Maximo 7.6.1 is compliance with the General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR. GDPR is all about the privacy of personal data. GDPR gives an individual the right to know what personal data is being held, to make corrections if it is wrong, and the right to have their personal data erased and to be forgotten. With the right to be forgotten, GDPR might be interpreted to require all names to be erased or anonymized after they are no longer needed, perhaps at the point a person leaves the employment of the Maximo system owner. GDPR will be fully addressed in another session. Maximo 7.6.1 also includes new integrations such as Building Integration Model, or BIM, as well as new applications, time zone rules, budget monitoring, and license tracking. There are also advanced analytical capabilities with entitlement to IBM Cognos. Again, a different presentation. As you can see, we have a lot to cover, so let's get started. Let's take a look at the new user interface. This screen improves usability by increasing spacing in the user interface views and is responsive to the size of the screen. Labels for each field dynamically adjust position, moving from above the field to the left of the field as the interface increases in size. The color scheme also now aligns with those in work centers. If you aren't currently using work centers, you should be. Please see our video series dedicated to work centers. One of the newest integrations is the Building Information Model. BIM is a process involving production and management of digital representations of the physical and functional characteristics of a facility or asset. The Maximo integration offering includes COBie data import, 3D BIM viewer adapter, and Maximo extensions for BIM data. The Time Zone Rules application allows you to specify time zone rules to identify the local date and time when creating records for a process, such as generating work orders from a preventive maintenance record. Records can show the local date and time of the user who is accessing the record, even if the record was created in a different time zone. To display the local date and time on a record for a process, you create a time zone rule by associating the process and the process rule with the Maximo business object. Time zone rules can be associated with a process at the system, organization, or site level. You can use the License Usage Monitor application to monitor your usage of licenses for products based on Tivoli's process automation engine. You can use this information to optimize the usage of licenses and determine whether your organization is using more than the purchased number of licenses. The License Usage Monitor application does not prevent overuse of licenses and does not replace the IBM license auditing process. This application just simply gathers information to help you understand your license usage. A depreciation schedule establishes the current value of an asset based on a starting value and periodic depreciation. The depreciation schedule helps you determine whether repairs and maintenance make good economic sense at any specific point in the life of the asset. Asset depreciation contributes to an asset's life cycle story. When you apply a depreciation schedule to an asset, a depreciation expense is periodically allocated to the cost of an asset's original purchase value. The schedule can be straight line or double declining. In a straight line schedule, the expense is an equal amount each period. In a double declining schedule, the expense is a percentage of the item's cost. The rate at which this expense is applied is determined by a user-defined period threshold. Period thresholds can be either date-based or usage-based. Date-based periods can be calculated monthly, quarterly, semi-yearly, or yearly. Usage-based periods are calculated based on meter life-to-date intervals. Work centers were introduced in 7608 and are role-based user interfaces where users can access and complete daily tasks without opening multiple applications. You can use tools to complete specific tasks, such as completing a service request, designing datasets for business analysts, or creating inspection forms. Work centers are covered in a different session, but are available for the following roles: business analyst, supervisor, maintenance technicians, service requesters, and inspections. So what's new in Maximo 7611? With this minor release, we continue to see improvements in the user experience. Both the technician and supervisor work centers have tools and services, quick reporting, map support, and the ability to utilize barcodes and QR codes. Some configuration tools have also been added, such as the ability to modify some of the queries and descriptions. Inspections now have cascading Q&A and color and icon indicators. A new work center has also been added, the Supply Chain Work Center. You will have the ability to create items right in the work center without having to revert back to classic Maximo. You can also create, edit, view, issue, transfer, and return items to and from a storeroom. Perhaps the best news of all is that physical counts can now be done via the work center. This is a huge step forward for Maximo inventory. In current Maximo, job plans are static, meaning labor, materials, services, and tools are predefined and applied directly to the work order. When you utilize dynamic job plans, you create a benchmark for labor and materials at the header level for a specific work unit. The work unit could be square footage, mass, or any actual unit of measure. When you apply the dynamic job plan to a work order with multiple job units, Maximo will calculate the resource requirements to scale the work you are performing. This can reduce the number of job plans in your library simply by eliminating multiple job plans for different scopes of work. There are 4 different calculation types, and you are not limited to using one specific calculation type per job plan. They can be applied at the task level, and you can simulate costs. The first calculation type is static, where resources are predefined. This is the traditional method currently used in Maximo. The proportional method is where resources applied to the work order are multiplied as the work units increase or decrease. Leveling is when additional resources are applied when specific thresholds are met. The thresholds are defined in the Resource Levels Management application. The last calculation type is used for linear assets, such as roads, pipelines, power lines, etc., where the assets have a start and end point and are measured in feet, miles, or kilometers. These assets can be further broken down into smaller segments. Each segment of the asset may have specific attributes that drive the resource requirements for that specific segment. Based on these attributes, you can define the scalability for the segments rather than the entire span of the asset. This is known as attribute-level scaling. When an individual no longer wants you to hold their personal data in your system, you have a duty to remove it. This is known as the General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR. Personal information, such as a phone number or an email address, is considered under GDPR. The data can be removed or replaced throughout the Maximo application. How you remove the information depends on the type of data that needs to be removed. You can randomize the field values to replace the values with a random alphanumeric string or clear field values, or you can delete multiple values from a field. The Manage People Data option will bring up a dialog allowing you to specify a list of attributes associated with person data, and what will happen to the data when you actually delete the person data. This tool has been available since early 2018, but has now been incorporated into Maximo 7.6.11. Please note, the process of deleting personal data is irreversible and should not be done for active users of the system. This concludes the Maximo 7.6.11 overview. Should you have any questions or require further assistance, please contact Grable Services.